Welcome to your yoga practice for anxiety. You won't need much, just a mat and maybe a block or a cushion if you have one, just in case you want to use it to support your body. Now, this practice is designed to calm your nervous system, but more importantly, help to disrupt and disconnect you from the rumination habit that really is at the heart of anxiety. Now, you're going to feel physically challenged, not as much as you would in a vinyasa class. However, the point of this physical challenge is to help you turn your attention to the strength you have inside of you, your power, your resilience. Now, it's all there, even if your anxiety is telling you otherwise. So let's get into it. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to begin in an all fours position to just move some of this anxiousness through the body. So what I'd like you to do is just start in a simple cat-cow. We're going to take the hands shoulder distance apart, knees are hip distance apart, and we're just dropping the belly down to inhale and lift through the heart and the hips, and then exhale, rounding the spine, curling over. Just connecting breath and body. And we're just flexing and extending right now. But then what I want you to do is get a little bit more creative and feel into what your body is asking for right now. So that might mean just staying here, in flexion and extension, or cat-cow, but it might also mean moving into a bit of a spinal roll, maybe moving side to side. Just see what your body is asking for. And sometimes you have to get, like I said, a little bit creative. Now, if your anxiety starts to arise as you're moving through this, just acknowledge it, but use this creative movement and the breath to keep you connected to the present moment. After all, anxiety, it really just keeps us locked in unhelpful predictions about the future or processing of the past. So I just want you to use the breath and the movement as a landmark to the here and now. Okay. So now we're going to move into child's pose. So let's bring the feet together, take the knees out nice and wide, and press your hips to your heels. Take your arms further forward. What I will also say is that when you come into deep hip flexion like this, when you're feeling anxious, we can become more sensitive to pain sensations. So you may find that certain postures that you're fine with feel a little bit more uncomfortable when you're in this highly anxious state. So what I'd love you to do is just grab a cushion or a pillow just to kind of lift you out of the pose if that's necessary. Maybe you want to have a cushion under your head. Whatever you do and whatever you have decided, I just want you to take a few moments to kind of fidget in this position and then come into stillness. Take a deep breath in, spread the ribs, feel that sensation of the breath moving into your body. And then gently notice how it moves naturally out of the body as well. Stillness can be harder when we're experiencing anxiety. Now, firstly, we're not going to be in child's pose forever, but notice that there's always a degree of movement. There's never truly stagnation. So just allow yourself to connect to even the fluidity of just your inhalation and your exhalation. Okay, good. Let's pull the body forward and we're going to come into Anahatasana. Anahata means heart in Sanskrit. So we're coming into a heart opening posture. The hips are going to come high over the knees. The shoulders are going to come and melt towards the floor with our arms out straight. You can bring your forehead or your chin to the floor. Close your eyes and encourage the breath to soften you here. We're just going to allow ourselves to be nice and heavy, melting our spine towards the floor, so allowing gravity to create some space here. Okay. And then from here, I want you to inhale, round forward, coming up as though you were going to come up into a cat-cow position, and then in a wave-like motion, start to send your hips towards the floor and just move into a high cobra position. Now, if you want to take upward dog, you can allow your feet to be flat and lift your knees, hips, and thighs off the floor. And then from here, exhale whatever you decided to take, tuck the toes, and press back into downward facing dog. If this is unavailable for you today, and you feel a bit twingy in the wrists, then of course you're welcome to take a different variation. You can just bring your knees to the floor instead. Now, we're going to take a deep breath in, walk out through the heels if you're in downward dog, and a full exhale. And then let's all come into high plank position. Again, if your wrists are sore, you can come into a forearm plank, but we're just gonna feel this pose. We're just gonna allow it to build some heat in the body. We're gonna feel our core switch on. We're gonna feel our glutes switch on, activation through the legs, through the feet, through the palms of our hands, pressing into the floor, spreading our scapula, feeling the shoulder blades spread off the back, and really rounding and hugging in. We want to feel like this core strength. As you stay here, you're going to be challenged somewhat in your body, yes, but also in your mind. So as the body starts to provide some sensation, notice if your mind then starts to add a narrative to those sensations. Notice if it starts to say, I'm not strong enough for this, or I need to come down, or I need to modify this position. Whatever it's saying to you, see if you can let go of that narrative and just stay connected to the sensation without any reaction. I'm going to take one more deep breath in, and then as you exhale, lower your body towards the floor. You can drop the knees if you need to, coming into chaturanga. And then inhale, either come forward into upward facing dog or just a nice gentle cobra. Exhale, press back into downward facing dog. Now we'll make this a little bit more fluid. So inhale, come forward, high push up. We're not going to stay here, don't worry. Exhale, lower down as you need to. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Let's do it again. Inhale, come forward, high push up. Last rep. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And then exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Amazing, beautiful, good. We're going to just drop the knees to the floor and come to the side of our mat. So we're going to come lengthways and come down to the back of the mat, and you're going to extend the left leg out to the side. Tuck your back and right toes and just let yourself stretch your inner left thigh here. So if you want to come and fold forward, that's going to intensify the stretch. You can either let your toes peel off or keep the foot flat. Different sensations, so just choose the one that's right for you. And we're just going to breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. Good, and then lift your body gently, and from here we'll take a side stretch over that left leg. So inhaling, reaching it up and over, and then bring the hands back to the floor. Just walk yourself around. We're going to come into downward facing dog again. Inhale, come forward, high push up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Good, bend your knees, look forward, and just step into your nice side position here at the top of your mat. We extend the right leg out to the side and stretching the other side here. So make the adjustments you need to, and then just let yourself fold forward over that leg. Take a deep breath in, sink deeper into it, and then from here lift the body, and we'll take a side stretch, reaching that left arm up and over to the side, up and over to that right side. Good, coming back up to center, hands come to the floor, and let's just move our way back into downward facing dog if you're going there, or just child's pose if that's what's available to you today. Let's walk out through the heels if you're in downward facing dog. Beautiful, and we'll take the vinyasa. Come into a high push-up position, lower down as you exhale. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. From here, we're going to drop into forearm plank. So I want you to bring your forearms down to the floor. Okay. And we're just going to hold for 15 seconds. That's it, 15 seconds. But while you're here in this position, what I would love for you to do is just breathe and notice your core strength. And when I say core, I also mean your mental core strength. So your ability to just hold space for yourself and find your inner strength. We have 3 seconds left. 3, 2, we're moving into side plank. So pick a side, I don't mind which one. We're going to tip our body over to the side, keeping our forearm down. The top arm is going to go up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're going to stack your feet, maybe they're going to be separate. And we're holding here for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center. And then we'll gently change to the other side, side plank on the other side. Again, finding that core strength. Holding here, breathing. You got 10 seconds left. Notice if the hips are sagging. Try to lift them a little. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Come back into a high plank now. Press back into downward facing dog. Look forward, bend your knees, and just hop to a cross-seated position at the top of your mat. We're going to come into tabletop. So take your feet out in front of you, hip distance apart, feet flat. Take the hands behind you. Turn the fingertips to either face forward for the hardest variation, out to the side or to the back. And from here, we're going to go ahead and lift the hips. Now, if your feet are too close to your hips right now and they're too bent, then you're going to feel like this is quite hard to do. So make sure that you take your feet further forward so that when we lift, we've got a nice right angle here. Let's go for it. Lifting up. Hold here. Breathe. And then lower back down. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees rest out wide for Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the hands onto your belly, or one hand onto your belly, one hand onto your heart. Tuck the tailbone, relax the face, and just ease into this position. Resist the temptation to fidget or to move, and just allow yourself to be here now. We're going to take 5 breaths together. Let's inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. This time exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Keep the eyes closed if you can. Take your hands down to your thighs. Just bring the knees in together. Hug the knees into the chest. Gently rocking from side to side, massaging out through your lower back. We're going to move into Shavasana, and I urge you to stay with me for the duration of Shavasana. Shavasana is an incredibly important part of the practice, and it translates to corpse pose. I'm going to explain that as we go into it. What I want you to do is extend your legs out nice and straight, take them wide, take up space here, turn the palms to face up at the ceiling, open up through the chest. When we're anxious, we often kind of like curl up. We want to curl up into a ball. Our tonic muscles that respond to stress pull us into the fetal position. We want to relax. We want to release them. So you have to make the choice to fully surrender here in this corpse position. Taking your hands out wide, palms face up as that gesture of surrender. Let the feet roll out. Close your eyes and stay with me. We're not going to be here for long. Shavasana is an honoring of surrender. It's an opportunity for us to practice the death of our identity and our attachment to identity, which is often very much the cause of our suffering and more specifically our anxiety. In Shavasana, we want to have a death of our ego and to allow the death of all our craving and grasping towards anything that we have misled ourselves into thinking will cause our contentment. Often the cause of our anxiety are things that we think are going to bring us happiness, but in actual fact they're not. And it's that chasing and that constant cycle of chasing that can wind us up feeling anxious. When we're here in this sense of surrender, we want to connect to the parts of us that are eternal, that is our consciousness, or at least our sense of awareness. We want to cultivate a sense of letting go and appreciating what is, but surrendering to what is as well. Take a deep breath in, release a full breath out. I encourage you to stay here a little longer. Don't rush yourself out of this position. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. I'll see you on the mat again soon. Namaste.
I feel amazing. I was feeling a little anxious earlier because I went to see a friend and he's about to go overseas for a little while and he's feeling anxious himself. And sometimes anxiety is a little bit contagious at times. And again, that's not me shitting on my friend. But when you're around people, they can sort of influence your energy in a way. And likewise, you know, perhaps there was a part of you that was already anxious and it can be activated in you when you spend time around those people. So I don't ever think it's like one person's fault. But what I noticed has happened is when I got home, I felt this like really intense like narrative that just wanted to find reasons for why I was feeling anxious. So I started to internally criticize things in my life. Anything I could find, whether it was like what I had in the fridge, to the email that I just sent, to anything. And that's something that I think we have to remember can occur with anxiety, is that it's looking for a reason to justify the way that you feel. And it does so by attaching itself to one thing, and then from there you get stuck in this loop where you continue to feel as though you're sort of in a whirlwind of anxiety and anxious thoughts and rumination. So taking the time to do a sequence like that has made me feel amazing. I didn't even want to come out of that Savasana then, but I came out because I wanted to do this and have a quick chat with you guys just while it was fresh in my mind and in my body. So I really, really, really encourage you to come back to this practice whenever you need it, and even at the times when you think you don't need it. That's also key, right? It's remembering to come back to it. Remembering to come back to it. I hope you find it helpful. I will see you on the mat soon. And if you want more tools and tricks on managing your anxiety or managing anxious feelings with incredible Eastern practices like this, that have been backed by modern science and evidence and empirical evidence, then you absolutely need to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my emails, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and check out my yoga program. All right, guys, I'll see you on the mat soon.